we're discussing one of the most terrifying, horrific animals in the entire Bible. We're talking about the one, the only cow.
What did he just say?
Confused? Bro, like all the time. The world's scariest cow and even more this week on POGO. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of POGO, where we bring the Bible to life through your video screen. If you want to catch up on last week's video, click the link below in the description or the little tag that just popped up. I hope you're all caught up because we got a lot of ground to cover. Let's get to it! This week, we're calling it The Cow and the Lion, Lessons from Daniel. Now, Daniel is a book of the Bible in the Old Testament. The hero of the book of Daniel is also named, you guessed it,
Philip.
Beef Dog? No, it's Daniel.
Aloysius III.
No, it's Daniel. Anyway, if you've been watching these videos for a while, you may have noticed a pattern. There are a lot of kings in ancient Israel. A good king would come along and honor God, and things would go great. Then the good king would die, and then a bad king would come in his place. They would worship false idols, and then God would punish them by letting things go bad. This happened over and over and over and over and over and over for centuries, until finally God said, all right, that's enough. Israel, you're getting a timeout.
How do you give an entire nation a timeout?
By letting another nation invade it, destroy it, and take over.
Yeah, that would do it.
Now, we've talked about a lot of kingdoms and a lot of kings, but the empire that God let take over the Israelites was a big deal. You may have read about them in history. They were called the Babylonians.
Babylonians.
Did you say Babylonian? No, Babylonians.
Babylonians.
It's Babylonians.
Bibbidi bobbidi bobbidi boo.
Babylonians. Babylonians!
What he said.
He said funny words. The Babylonian Empire covered almost the entirety of the Middle East, and they were ruled by a powerful king named Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar!
Seriously?
What?
You can say Nebuchadnezzar, but you can't say
Boobity schmoobity!
Okay, moving on. King Nebuchadnezzar kidnapped a whole bunch of Israelites and brought them back to his kingdom of Babylon. One of those Israelites was a guy named Daniel.
Julio.
No, Daniel!
They sound a lot alike.
No, they don't. Anyway, the Babylonians told Daniel, you have to live like us now. You have to worship our gods, you have to learn our language, you have to learn all of our history, and you even have to get a new name.
Julio!
For the millionth time, it's not Julio. Can you imagine being kidnapped from your home, taken all the way to another country, and your way of life just being erased? That's not cool, bro! No, it's definitely not. But Daniel was different. He loved God with all of his heart and remained faithful. God made Daniel a leader in the Babylonian Empire.
Way to go, Julio!
I'm just gonna ignore that now. And because Daniel was faithful, God gave him a special gift. If you ever had a dream that didn't make sense, Daniel, with the power of God, could tell you what it meant. This one time, I dreamt I was eating a big marshmallow, and when I woke up, my pillow was gone. Daniel went through all of those hard times and still remained faithful. And you know what, boys and girls? Sometimes when things are going bad, it can actually be good. Huh? It's true. Our first lesson is, tough times can make us stronger. Have you ever seen a blacksmith? If something is made out of iron or steel, first thing they gotta do is get the metal hot. Pound it like crazy with a hammer. That pounding makes it stronger and last longer. They're literally hammering out all the bad stuff. Those times in our lives when things are going bad, God can use that.
God's going to hit me with a hammer?
No, not literally. Daniel made a choice. He could have whined, he could have complained.
I don't want to be in Babylon!
But instead, he stayed faithful and he got closer to God. God doesn't make bad stuff happen, but sometimes He can let bad things happen to either get our attention or bring us closer to Him, where we belong in the first place. Remember, Daniel was blessed to interpret dreams, and King Nebuchadnezzar had this dream that was driving him crazy. He dreamt of this big, huge, beautiful tree, and an angel from heaven demanding that it be chopped down. Daniel listens to the king and says, "This is what God is telling you. The tree represents you, king, and God is going to cut you down for your pride and evil." A year later, he was walking on the top of his palace, and he looked out over his entire kingdom, and he said, "Is this not Babylon that I made with my power for my glory?" And God turned him into a cow.
Moo.
Oh, that makes sense. What?
God made the king go crazy. It's a condition called boanthropy, where you think you are a cow. Nebuchadnezzar was driven away from his kingdom and spent a long time crawling around on all fours, mooing and eating grass. But eventually, Nebuchadnezzar snapped back to reality and realized that the God of heaven is the one true God who has all the power and should get all the glory. And that's our second lesson. Tough times can make us humble. Now, there's nothing wrong with being proud of something. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about something you've done. As long as you remember who made that good thing happen in the first place, God. Without Him, we'd be nothing. King Nebuchadnezzar was humbled and became a follower of God. Many years pass. Daniel continues to stay humble, continues to serve God, and he becomes one of the most powerful men in the entire kingdom. Some people got jealous. They were afraid Daniel was going to get all the power to himself. They convinced this new king to write a law where everyone in the kingdom had to worship the king and nobody else.
That's not nice.
And Daniel wasn't about to sin, so he would worship God in the privacy of his room, and that basically tattletaled on him. The king didn't want to look weak and didn't want to break his own law. He sentenced Daniel to death by lions.
Nice kitty.
The Babylonian den of lions was world famous for being utterly horrifying. You're thrown into this dark cave. There's no escape, and then you hear it. The deep growl of some of the most ferocious animals on the planet.
This is too scary. I don't like it.
It's okay, it has a happy ending.
Well, could you please hurry it up? I have to go potty.
The king didn't want Daniel to die. At the first light of dawn, he ran to the lion's den and had them open the entrance. And out of the darkness, he hears Daniel's voice. "Long live the king!" Daniel said that God sent an angel in the middle of the night to close the lions' mouths. Wow. Now, if that was me, and I had been kidnapped from my country, forced to learn a new language, a new history, had been lied about, and thrown into a den of hungry lions, I would not have been talking like that. I would have probably said something like, "Yes, I'm alive, and I'm gonna punch you in the face!" But no, Daniel stayed faithful to God, and he stayed humble. His difficult times in Babylon had strengthened his faith and reliance on God. And the king of Babylon issued a decree to the whole nation that the God of Daniel should be feared and followed, for he is the living God who endures forever and rescues his followers. That leads us to our last lesson. God uses tough times for his glory. One of God's favorite things to do is to take something bad and turn it around for good. Are you going through something tough right now? Do you feel like things are never going to be good ever again? Don't give up. Daniel didn't give up. You shouldn't either. Change your mindset. Instead of asking, "God, why is this happening to me?" Instead say, "Okay, God, what are you trying to teach me?" God has a beautiful, amazing plan for your life. Maybe He's trying to use this time to get you ready for it. James 1:12 says, "God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love Him." That crown of life is your reward in heaven. God promised us He would reward us for our faithfulness. God never breaks a promise.
I love this story. Can I go potty now?
That's all the time we have this week for POGO. Did you like this video? Do you have anything you want to add? Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time we upload a new video. We'll see you next week. Thanks for stopping by, and God bless.